The Bengals shocked the football world, certainly surprised us here at Cincinnati Bengals Talk when they agreed to sign Orlando Brown Jr. to a 4-year, $64 million contract. Some more thoughts on him. Plus, what are the Bengals going to do at right tackle? Let's get into it. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and buckle up because the Bengals, they continue to churn. They continue to move things forward. And they started free agency slow, and then they got off to a huge, just absolute blockbuster of a move that they made on Wednesday night by adding Orlando Brown Jr. But they're not stopping there. In fact, they're hosting two veterans today, and today being Thursday. Cody Ford, a guard who would kind of serve as Max Sharping's replacement as a swing guard, backup, former second-round pick, Oklahoma alum, was teammates with Orlando Brown Jr., oddly enough. Hosting him for a visit. Also, safety Nick Scott from the Rams was one of their starting safeties alongside Taylor Rapp during their run to Super Bowl 56. So we'll see what happens with those two guys. But this isn't about that. We'll have updates on that. What do the Bengals do at right tackle? Because I think we all like the Orlando Brown Jr. move. I love that the Bengals kind of broke the mold. I wrote about it at allbengals.com. I suggest you check out that column. And I'll do more on what Brown means to this offensive line, to the organization, certainly here on this channel. But a lot of you have asked, what do they do at right tackle? La'el Collins is injured, coming back from that ACL. Obviously, you have guys like Hakeem Adeniji and Jackson Carman around. You also have a guy in Jonah Williams, who to me is the most obvious option. His salary is guaranteed. They picked up that fifth-year option. So maybe you trade him for a late round pick. And if I look down, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any notifications. That's free agency. But they could trade him maybe for a late round pick. But why not try to move him to right tackle? And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but this makes a lot of sense to me. Jonah Williams in 2021, and it wasn't a good offensive line, but he was their best offensive lineman. He was their most consistent offensive lineman. And an injury-riddled, playing through injury, but certainly injury-riddled 2022 season really hurt him at left tackle. So the Bengals, they go out and they get the best left tackle on the market, which I love, you love. I think a lot of people love that move. Okay, well, Williams is still under contract. Let's see what he can do at right tackle. Let's see if maybe he benefits from that. Some have suggested guard. You have Cordell Volson. Why would you move Jonah inside to guard? I think for sure that that's what they do. If Williams is on the roster, he's going to be their right tackle. And Brian Callahan, the Bengals offensive coordinator, was asked about potentially moving Jonah in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. And he didn't rule it out. He did say it would be hard, but he didn't rule it out. And since they added Orlando Brown Jr., I think Jonah is going to have to be open to the idea. Here's Brian on a potential move to right tackle for Jonah Williams.
It'd be tough. I mean, he spent his whole career really, especially as a pro, as a left tackle. Moving him would probably be pretty difficult. That's probably not something that he would be necessarily excited about either. I'm sure he, as a team first guy, he would do it if that's what was best for us. But it's a hard switch to make for a guy that's played a lot of snaps at left tackle over his career and very minimal at right. I know he did some at Alabama, but as far as a pro, that's a pretty difficult switch.
It makes some sense, and it really makes a lot of sense. I think if you are telling me left to right, this is the Bengals starting offensive line to start the 2023 season: Orlando Brown Jr., Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, Jonah Williams. I feel really good about that, especially if you had a guy like Cody Ford, a versatile veteran backup guard. And so now you have Jackson Carman as one backup tackle, Hakeem Adeniji as another backup tackle, Cody Ford, who can be a backup guard at either spot. You feel like you're 8 deep of maybe not amazing offensive linemen, but really quality linemen. And that's before the draft. And that's the beauty of this, is I think the Orlando Brown Jr. signing opens things up. Now, as for La'el Collins, I think the Bengals like him. It's about his health. And do they move on from him? Do they just try to trade Jonah because they feel good about La'el being the right tackle? That part is interesting too to me. A healthy La'el Collins at right tackle I feel good about. I have major questions, though, about his health. And so I'm not sure what they do there. If I had to guess, it's easier to move on from Lyle. That's not a guess. So if I had to guess, I would say that's what they do today. Hard to say either way. Frank Pollack at the combine called Lyle Collins a starter when healthy, and he felt good about him. Also said he felt good about Jonah, which is why I think they moved Jonah Williams. Here's Pollack in Indianapolis discussing the tackle position.
I've been in this league long enough to say we're not wedded to anything. Tomorrow everything could change, and who knows where everyone's going to be. So that's just the nature of the league. So everyone understands that. The league's ultra competitive. Every team is here this week to try to get better at every spot they can possibly get better at. And that's why this league is so great. And it's why it's impressive that when players play in this league, because it's extremely competitive.
This is a great problem to have. And this Bengals offensive line already, regardless of what they do at right tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa. It's the best offensive line that Joe Burrow's ever had, regardless of who plays right tackle. It just is. And I think Jonah Williams, who's going to be motivated, who's going to be coming back and hoping to have a bounce back season, is, certainly it's realistic to expect him to do that. Much harder to expect Lyle Collins to do that. He's going to be 30, coming off of an ACL after an injury-riddled season before he tore his ACL. Jonah had the best year of his career, essentially, in 2021. And then 2022 wasn't as good, was underwhelming. Let's see if he can reestablish his value. I think that's the route they go. We'll see if that's what happens. Plenty to dive into. I just figured I'd give you my 2 cents and wanted you to hear from Brian Callahan and Frank Pollack. They obviously talked about that before the Orlando Brown Jr. signing. And when that signing is official, when he actually puts pen to paper and he has that news conference, we will have it here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. So subscribe, ring the bell. We'll bring you any news that comes your way and comes the Bengals' way about the Bengals throughout this free agency process. And buckle up, because that was a huge, huge deal on Wednesday night, and I think there's more to come. So for Andrew Fox-Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.